Nå skal vi bevege oss over til andre som også flinke, og nå skal vi få høre fra en stor tysk aktør og deres tilnærming til enøk og klimatilpasning. So give a very warm welcome to Senior Vice President Digitalization Sustainability in Schüco, Dr. Thomas Schlenker.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello everybody. Thanks for having me. I would like to start with a probably very well-known diagram, which is the Liti diagram. So it starts basically from the very beginning, from the fabrication, from the product, from the material itself, down the road to construction, to operation. So this is the 50 years. This is the 50 years of the building, even though it looks that small. Down the road to the demolition and the credits, what you do with the materials afterwards. And that becomes more and more important in the future. That has a significant importance now because we have a huge task of refurbishment of buildings which have been constructed in the 60s, 70s, 80s. So this is why that has a significant importance. That one will remain important, but I have to say the last decades, all of us in the construction industries, that we have done a very good job in that one, in having products which allow us to operate the buildings on a very low energy. And that one becomes very important as well. How much CO2, how much embodied CO2 do I bring into the building, even though the building has not run a single hour yet? So these are the two important things. And as you can see, they are kind of linked up here because we need this material from here in order to decrease the carbon footprint of the material which we bring into refurbished or new buildings. Let's see how this changed, and there has been sustainability out there for a long time. The good thing is we see that now since a couple of years in the specification. In the specification for buildings, refurbishment or new. So this is not a marketing blah blah anymore. This is real life. I have to say the UK is leading the pack. They've kind of started 2-3 years ahead. Well, that has been taken place quite a long time. I start with a short example from Land-Lease. They are very aggressive on that one. Carbon footprint, absolute zero by 2040. That has to do with their supply chain. So they can't reach it themselves without us in the construction industry. It has a lot to do with materials like steel, cement, aluminum, which is our main business, and glass. This means we need low carbon designs. We need to reduce the amount of material, and we have to reduce the CO2 footprint of the material itself. The second part, I think this is quite interesting, that there is a combination, and it's closely bonded, that digitalization and sustainability, they meet here. So you can't do the one without the other, or you can't really control, you can't really design it the way or design it efficiently if you don't have these two guys linked to each other. Another one, and I worked a lot on my Norwegian, that is from Stadsbygg, and in the upper part, it is this A1 to A3, which I've just shown in the Liti diagram, which is use of low-carbon materials, long lifetime, easy to maintain. And the second part is reuse and recycle, and as already explained, these two guys, they are linked to each other. Looking at the value chain, it starts with the design. This is the architect, this is the investor, this is the developer. Down the road, specification, tender phase, technical planning done by fabricators, installers, manufacturing, installation, and the operation. And it needs to work seamlessly in order to be efficient, in order to make this accepted by all the players. And we're talking about companies really doing the work on site. They have 50 employees, 100 employees, 30 employees. So it's kind of our job to make their life easy in order to have these processes in operation seamlessly. These are the players: architect, planner, developer, Schüco partners and dealers and owners. And these guys in the middle, they really have to provide all this information, of course the material, but all the information to the others here. What does that mean in the very beginning? And this is kind of a upfront information we need to provide, how such systems work efficiently. There is a new currency out there. It's not just the budget anymore. It's not the U value and the structural value. It's also the CO2, which became a new currency. Then, of course, there's the fabricators, the installers who produce it. And they tell us, Thomas, I give you 2 clicks. I have 10 seconds left in my fabrication. You have 2 clicks in order to link all this information you need for these guys and create this digital twin. I can't allow you having half an hour spent on a window to create this digital twin. This is our task, to make this seamlessly and easy, to provide this information to the owner, to the facility manager, and then also having all the after-sales work, all the refurbishments, the upgrades being done automatically, and also knowing what material is where, because this is kind of the future for the whole urban mining concept. If we don't know how much steel, how much aluminum, how much whatever is installed where, I will not be able to take it back, recycle it, and produce new components out of it. And of course, as explained, we need this digital solution backbone underneath it in order to really make it happen, make it seamlessly, and make it also happening for our partners in here. What are the main contributors for this embodied carbon I've talked about? It's a design. That is something we need to talk to investors, to architects. How much facade, when we talk about facade in that case, how much facade do I want to spend per square meter office space, per square meter rental space, etc., etc. So that is what we call the form factor. It has to do with the system. It has to do with the size. So this is information which you need to know in the very beginning. Then it's the material itself. That is mainly our task, to do a breakdown. How much aluminum is in there? What is the carbon footprint of it? What is the thermal break? What is the glass? And how does that pie chart change with the design change, with the whole change of the building? And that needs to be done by just clicking one button. Fabrication is a smaller part. Transportation is also a smaller part, needs to be considered in the second phase. Installation, construction is a part, but it's not that important as the upper ones. Who is responsible for it? As already mentioned, for the form factor, it's the architect, the investor. We need to make transparent what effect has what design. If I change the design, what does it mean for the carbon footprint? And that requires new configurators we have developed and the industry develops in order to make this. So there's an upfront information required. Influence of the facade design itself, choosing the right system, which has to do with that one, which has to do with that one. And that one is mainly our task and the task of our partners, reducing the amount of CO2 of the material itself. It won't go with that one, but it needs to be a holistic approach for the entire value chain. That's what I just said. The holistic approach is required, and this is why we use this infinity symbol. If you don't consider it in the design phase, that has to do with our systems, but it also has to do with the design of the building. You will not be able to have it in the build to decarb phase, you won't have it in the operation phase, and you won't have it in the recycle phase. You need to consider everything in the very beginning. Of course, we'll do our homework on reducing the carbon footprint of the material itself. We have to introduce, and that's what we did, this additional currency next to the budget, next to the installation value, next to the structural value. There is the CO2 value, which will come off all configurators by clicking one button. And then we have to squeeze out every single kilogram of aluminum. We have to optimize everything. We have to change the design. It won't go without doing that task as well. We need to have different designs, and that's what we have implemented, using different materials that will able to take it apart afterwards, I would say with a fork and a knife, and having the stainless steel here, having the gasket in here, having the aluminum in here, to be able to fully recycle it afterwards. I think on that side, on the operation to decarb, we have done a very good job. That's what I've said already. So we have systems out there with a really, really great U value, which allows us doing passive house, which allows us doing heat recovery, all these kind of things, implementing photovoltaics in the facade. So we did a really good job. I would do a tick in the box over there. That is something we need to work on, especially when we look at the huge amount of buildings which are going to be refurbished, introducing the digital twin, taking it apart, and then putting it back here in the low carbon materials. That's it from my side. Thank you very much.